If I hear one more man on the internet say, I watch Meghan Markle's show so you don't have to, let's break it down, I am literally going to lose my mind.
Show me life, show me love.
And it's not just me. I know so many other women who feel this way too. I feel like the internet is creating some sort of smear campaign against Meghan Markle, or Meghan, how she likes to be referred to now as the Duchess of Sussex, that it's so out of control. And guess what? It's also so predictable. I could have written all of these critics and all these ratings and everything ahead of time. With what I'm seeing, it's as if everyone already decided to hate on the show before it even came out and already had their write-ups. And believe me, I know, I've worked in news, I've worked in Hollywood, I worked as a television actress and a news reporter, entertainment reporter, actually interviewed Meghan Markle. We'll get to that later. And I know that sometimes there are things that are written that haven't even come out yet. So that is true. We're also going to do a full deep dive comparison that's going to be so fascinating between Meghan Markle's show and Martha Stewart's show back in the day. And we're going to see where they're going right and the parallels and what makes them so different, why the public is handling these shows so differently. So stay tuned. I also had a crazy bodily reaction to the show that I wasn't expecting. And I'm going to share more on that at the end of this video, so stick around. This video isn't just gonna be about me ranting. We're actually gonna do some deep dives right now. We're gonna go over the predictability of the internet and how people are reacting and the intention that they went into watching the show. We're gonna go into the actual shooting. Does that account for why people are so upset? We're also gonna deep dive into her guests, her personality and the image she's portraying, and also the recipe, who this is for. And we're also going to provide some feedback and opportunities. But yeah, I'm coming in hot because that's exactly how I feel. I hate when someone is trying to reinvent themselves that the public just won't let them. So we're going to start there. Part of the reason why people are so upset about anything that Meghan Markle does is because they don't believe that she is a real quote unquote person. They think everything that she does is fake. So every time she tries to put out something, she never is given an opportunity to just actually be herself. And I actually did interview her before she kind of became famous. She was on Suits. It was season 3. I'll dive more into that in another video. But a lot of you guys know, before she even met Harry, she had a website called The Tig. She was very into homemaking. She worked at paper stores. Obviously, her calligraphy is so beautiful. So it actually makes kind of perfect sense that she's doing a lifestyle homemaking show because that's her background. She said in the beginning when she met Harry, they didn't go out a lot. They actually loved staying in and cooking dinners. The problem is that people already decided that they hated her. So anything that she was gonna put out, they were gonna hate. And I've been thinking about this. I'm like, what could she have put out that people weren't going to hate? Like, she also did a lot of humanitarian work even before meeting Harry, and that's a huge passion on her heart. So let's just say she made a show about that and, you know, going to Africa and helping people and traveling the world. Okay, well, if she brought a camera along with her, then the public would hate that too. It's like, okay, what in the world are you guys ever gonna give this woman a chance on? And I actually think it's so brave that she keeps just taking the punches and coming back with a new idea. She obviously, her and Harry left the royal family. She put out a podcast called Archetypes where she was interviewing just women in different parts of their career and them overcoming their archetype, right? Mindy Kaling was on it. A lot of different women were on it, which is what brought Mindy Kaling back to this show now. And people didn't love it. They thought she was talking about the royal family too much. They were like, she's playing the victim. So what happens? A couple years later, she comes out with this show. She has not referenced the royal family at all. She is actually trying to do a rebrand. She is known among her friends for making these beautiful preserves. Everyone wants them. So she goes, yeah, let's create this lifestyle brand because that's a really big part of her. I mean, anyone who owns chickens and things like that, of course, it's going to be a big part of her. Another reason why people hate it is because they are like, she's not relatable at all. And newsflash, she's literally a duchess. How could she be relatable? You know, like you have to balance her experience in life that she just went down to a normal person and the expectations that you would put on them versus her. She is trying to be relatable throughout the show, and we'll get more into that with bringing up, if you do this, you could do this before school, you could do this on a low budget. And I watched all 8 episodes, and I honestly felt like I could make all of these things, and I'm not that good of a cook. But the show is not intended for all these men who are bombastic and they're going on all these, shows and podcasts saying, oh my God, this show is awful. Who would want to watch this? It's so boring. Let me tell you first, the audience of who wants to watch it. And it is us girlies who like to put our spindrifts in little glasses like this. I don't even know if it's considered a cocktail glass that we got for $3 from TJ Maxx. It's the girlies who have maybe fake flowers everywhere because it's more affordable. Maybe they read Jane Austen. Maybe they like having a little cup of tea at night. We are the audience, but we're also not just trad wives. Like, I'm sure this show, honestly, a lot of women who want to be, beautiful, stay-at-home homemakers, they're gonna love it. But also, it's for women who also want to be humble hustle. They want to be boss babes too, but they want to learn how to balance and how to just bring peace into their lives. And that is exactly what Martha Stewart was doing so many years ago with Martha Stewart Living. And she wasn't annihilated for it. The reason people love annihilating Meghan is because we've decided as a culture that Meghan Markle just never gonna win. We're never going to let her win. And I think that's what upsets me the most. This doesn't have to be Meghan Markle. It could be honestly any woman. And, Monica Lewinsky faced that for many years, and now she's back at it with the podcast. The slight difference between Monica Lewinsky and Meghan Markle, obviously you can't compare their entire situations, but both women trying to overcome things, trying to rebrand, except now Meghan Markle isn't using any of her past to do so. Yeah, she is rich. She's super rich. She's very famous. She has access to famous friends, and some of her friends are famous and some of them are her high school buddies. But that is just what comes with the territory of living in that world, of being on a TV show for years, of marrying a prince. You know what I mean? So let's first talk about the intention of why people are watching the show. So one, I already said, people were gonna watch the show just to make crazy videos, make crazy statements, to literally tear her down. It's like the kid in school who's like, I just really wanna be on the soccer team. And every time he tries out, you're like, absolutely not. Doesn't even qualify. People are like, she's not even that good of a chef. Okay, I actually think she's very good for someone like me who knows nothing about cooking. But also, she's not trying to be a chef. She's trying to make relatable dishes. I've seen so many young women on TikTok and YouTube who are making these way too elaborate things. And I'm like, I would never be able to recreate it. Meghan's recipes, you actually could. So let's talk about her energy and her overall persona and demeanor. And that is kind of more like that big sis, upscale, put together energy. They're probably not fully upscale and put together all the time, but they like to present themselves this way. Okay, you're either the person who is jealous of your big sis and you're like, I hate this, I can't stand it. It makes me look bad because I'm not living up to this crazy expectation that you're creating of the world. Or you're like, man, that is so aspirational. I just want to be more like that. Even if I can't be exactly like them, I want to take an element of this. And I think Meghan does a really great job of kind of sprinkling that all throughout the show of hey, you want to spice up your ice cream? Put a little preserves on the bottom of it. You know what I mean? So if your intention was to hate watch it, that's what you're going to get. You're going to say, oh God, she's so self-indulgent. She made this all about her. She kept referencing her problems growing up as a kid. Yeah, well, that's what people do when they're making a cooking show and they're the star. They're going to reference their experiences and when they make things. But let me tell you, she actually knows actual homemaking. A lot of the guests would question her at times, and you could just tell she actually knew why the thing was doing the thing. I can't even describe it because I wouldn't know. If I had a cooking show, I'd be like, I don't know, just boil it and then the water does something and then it becomes pasta. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to say, yeah, the starch and the fumes and the, I'm saying this in a very low bar way, but I'm the audience. I'm part of the audience who's like, man, I want to watch this. And my prediction is that people are going to hate watch it. And then there's going to be so many people who aren't going to come out and say that they love it, get all those recipes. And then they're going to be the ones on her site ever after that are buying all the jams and doing all the things because they're like, these are great recipes. This is awesome. We're going to get to the recipes in just a sec. Let's talk about her shooting location because this, for some reason, has people up in arms. So she's shooting at basically a production set. It's a home. It's in Montecito. It's not her home. And then outside are all these gardens, and she'll go inside and outside. She'll pick her little leaves. She'll set up her, little brunches that she has, and that's her set. Okay. That is so normal for people who work in Hollywood. Like if you were to tell any actor, no, we're gonna shoot in your actual home, especially an actress with millions of followers whose husband is literally a prince, then it makes perfect sense, especially for safety reasons. I have seen some influencers share just the details of the inside of their home on the internet, and people have been able to find their home. And it's very scary. So think about, you're inside your home, your kids are there. I think she said there was a crew of 80 people that are in and out of your home. You can't keep track of 80 people going in and out, not to mention that she's trying to juggle her kids. What do you think production is, just like a 9 to 5? No, production are usually like 12-hour days, and it's a lot of days in a row, and you don't want that many people inside your home. I just think safety-wise, like people aren't understanding that's not really safe. I'm not quite sure why Martha Stewart did it. I mean, kudos for you, Martha Stewart. She would have people shoot at her Bedford estate in New York. But it made me think also, if Meghan Markle shot in her home, Martha Stewart does it, it's cool. It's like casual, it's personal. You feel like you're at home with Martha Stewart. Meghan Markle were to do that. Could you imagine the backlash that she would receive? Again, she can't freaking do anything right. I have to take a sip of my Spindrift. People would analyze her home so much. Why does she have that? Look at her $1 billion table or whatever. It's like, guys, stop acting like she can't be rich. Like, she has money, it is what it is, and she's still yet trying to make recipes that are affordable, she could totally have done this show, and I've seen YouTubers do it, where they're like getting caviar and making these elevated dishes, and they're getting so much backlash because they're like, I cannot relate, like I don't have caviar creme fraiche or whatever. No, if someone like me who barely cooks, like I feel like I'm getting more into cooking, can get takeaways from this, then you can too. So let's just like let go of this whole shooting location. Might feel a little more staged, but it is what it is. It's a set. What do you think, Rachel Ray? Does that not feel staged? Like, why is it that Emerald, Rachel Ray, all of those cooks can cook on a set, but Meghan Markle can't go to a house and cook on a set? Humor me that. So I was having ChatGPT put together some like comparison charts for me of Meghan Markle's show versus Martha Stewart's show. And I feel like even ChatGPT, the way it's explaining it just feels so biased. And as a former journalist, that just makes me so mad. So it says Martha Stewart's location feels more natural, personal, as if Martha Stewart has lived and worked in her estate for years. And Meghan Markle says, critics say the set feels more like a staged production rather than a lived-in space. The aesthetic vibe is polished, high-end, and aspirational. I will agree with that. It's very aesthetic, it's very high-end, it's very aspirational. So is every other girl on TikTok. Like, I feel like that's their goal on TikTok and Instagram and social media. But yet Martha's was traditional, cozy, rustic, garden, cooking. And I understand because Martha Stewart built her brand solely on that. Meghan was an actress. That's kind of how she built her fame. And then she had to take while doing that, but she didn't really build her fame as like this homemaking guru. And then she had to shut it down the minute that she met Harry. So there's a lot of different reinventions that she's undergone, and the public just will not have it. So I want to go over the guests that she has on her show. We're going to break down each episode, and we're going to talk about the dishes that they made. I'm gonna laugh right now because her first episode is called Welcome Home. It's with her makeup artist, Daniel Martin. And why I'm gonna laugh is because this is actually so relatable and people are acting like it's not. And so basically Meghan takes you through preparing a thoughtful guest basket. So in her guest basket, she teaches you how to like make a nice Epsom salt soak and like what to put in it. And honestly, me and my husband have both been like, how do we make our Epsom salt mixture better? She teaches you how to take honey and create like beeswax candles from harvesting the honey, and then creates this amazing lemon raspberry lavender cake. And I literally told my husband, I was like, I want to make this. And he's stoked for it. But why I'm laughing is because I'm in my little office that moonlights as a mini guest room. We have our mini little bed right there. And this is not staged at all. This is just fact. I have our little guest basket. And does it have little dollar store items? Yes, it does. It has kind of more like essentials, and me and my friend and my best friend, we do this because we stay at each other's houses and we are obsessed with our guest baskets. It's not that crazy to have a guest basket, and yet people were hating on her for it. And like I said, men and women have both said, oh my God, I love your little guest basket. Thank you for thinking of me. So I just hate that people just hated on that. So I'm like, I feel like that's so relatable. People want to know how to do guest baskets. Okay, now let's move on to episode 2, which is Tea Time with Mindy Kaling. You can tell that Mindy and Meghan aren't like the best of friends because they just have very different energies. Mindy has been one of my favorites for years, and she's very self-deprecating. She's hilarious. She likes to be like, I'm new money. Like, she doesn't come from old money. She did have parents who had great jobs, OBGYN mother, but she really hustled, and she hustled in a time where women were not in writers' rooms at all. Like, I know everything about Mindy Kaling. I love her so much. Very different energy than Meghan Markle, which is great because, or Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, because it's kind of a good juxtaposition, but you can tell they're not like the best of friends. They're like new friends. They're getting to know each other. So I loved this because I thought it was so cute. They plan a little kid-friendly tea party, and Meghan's makes a very kind of like basic, but makes it more beautiful rainbow thing out of fruit. And I'm like, that is so easy. I could do that for my little me's. Like, I can make a little tea party. We can make little tea sandwiches. I love little tea parties. And again, tea parties are starting to blow up. Like, women everywhere are loving having tea parties, especially with Bridgerton being out. So this was awesome. Never knew it was possible to make a balloon arch. Again, you guys could watch this right now and make fun of me, and I can guarantee that there are so many women out there that are like, girl, I always wanted to learn how to make a balloon arch. Like, there are so many of us, and we just want to make our home cozy and fun and beautiful. She teaches her how to make little parfaits. It's just elevating an ice cream dish, and then also frittata, which again is so like doable. Episode 3 is called Spice It Up with Roy Choi. What I really liked about this, and this is what I think she should do more of, is that she is learning how to make a different culture's food and letting them teach her, which I thought was really interesting. So Roy is a famous chef in Los Angeles, and he teaches her how to make spicy Korean flavors, focusing on foolproof method for Korean fried chicken. This looks the most hard to me, but definitely something I was interested in. I loved hearing about the cultural elements. And what Meghan does that other cooking shows don't do is she focuses back on what community means, what food means, what it means to bring your home, come to life. And it kind of reminds me of, I'm not saying this is a men or women thing, but I know sometimes, the husbands or whoever can be like, don't buy this for the home. And the wives are like, hello, that's what makes it a home. Like, you think we don't need, little tables or little charcuterie boards or whatever. And it's a very privileged thing to have a lot of these things in your kitchen. I'm not denying that. But it's the little things that you can add even on a budget that can elevate a home, right? Like I said, our office doubles as one. It's both of our office. 2-bedroom apartment, doubles as a little guest room. Like you just do what you got to do to make things work. And that's a very privileged thing to say. Episode 4, picnic in the park. So after a hike, she makes a cute little picnic. She makes homemade focaccia, and she just teaches you like all the different elements to that. This is a socialite, Delphina. But what's really cool is Delphina talks about her culture, and I'm forgetting where she's from, but she teaches her more about like how to share this special drink, and she teaches her about our culture. Number 5, this was kind of the most fun episode, so to speak, because it's Meghan with her real, like really, really good friends, and that's Abigail Spencer, who's from Suits. Love her. Anyone who remembers Scotty, Harvey's, little fling. And then Kelly Zajfen, and she is an entrepreneur as well. And Abigail also has her own floral company. So this is where they host lunch. They made salted baked fish, which I've never seen before, but it looked delicious and kind of like interesting, so that was different. Episode 6 is game night, and she has all these girlfriends over for a game night of playing Mahjong or something, and it actually looked really fun. So for this, they have the local chefs help teach her again how to make a gourmet taco bar, what to include, how to make homemade ceviche, which looked crazy, but again, aspirational, and also how to make chicken tinga, and I love some chicken tinga. Episode 7 was one of my favorites, and that is Neighborly Love, and that's Vicky, and she's the entrepreneur of the beauty brand Tatcha. And so what Vicky did was she started using these beautiful all-natural elements of plants and things that you can find at a Japanese market and incorporating healthy, organic, like from the garden, Japanese vegetables and mixtures into skincare. And so she literally teaches her how to make like a cool mud mask, like a purple mud mask. And they also do a pot sticker recipe, which I just made pot stickers with our friend from China. And it was so much fun, just like them. But I was like, ooh, we should do that instead of this. So it was great. Brunch with Alice is the famous chef, Alice Waters. And this was very cute. This was where I think they made quiche and like some salad and just a huge brunch. Like they made some shortbread cookies with some flour sprinkles. And I know I probably just sound like the biggest like a homemaker lover type of girl, but all of these things are things that all of us would love that like this style of content. That's why I'm like, what are people's intentions? Like it almost feels like the internet just blew up hating on Meghan Markle, and it wasn't any of the people that should have been watching that show to begin with. Like, have the people like myself, like others, who actually intake this type of content and want to learn about this type of stuff, watch it, and we will give our own critiques. Some of them are not food, are her Epsom salts, like gift basket, her whole thing there with the popcorn, dog treats. I'm like, I need to try that for my dog. The flour sprinkles just on anything and the way she would put flowers in her ice. I also loved the lemon lavender cake that looked so good. Just even her rainbow plates and aesthetic, and basically just making a normal dish more beautiful. Like her vegetable trays, but like adding hummus and some olive oil and some hemp seeds. I'm like, way to elevate the dish. I just love it so much. And I think more importantly, I love that Meghan keeps bringing it back to intention. So Meghan went on the Drew Barrymore show to promote her show, and I was like, that makes perfect sense because this is so Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore is very touchy-feely. She's very in tune with her emotions. It can rub a lot of people the wrong way. Again, the audience that shouldn't even be watching Drew Barrymore's show. Why does that make perfect sense? Because Meghan is all about intention, you know, really taking time to nurture things, to build things up, to make it more homey. So it's kind of the perfect fit for her to go on that show. And that's exactly what Drew talks about. Her audience, Drew's audience, is exactly Meghan's audience. So I invite you guys to actually watch the show, to give it a shot, to relax, watch it as if you were watching Martha Stewart's show. Try to go in with an open mind and stop listening to the internet because this show was never meant for them. Let's just be clear. I do not critique the Super Bowl. Do I? No, because I don't know anything about it. I don't care anything about it. I would say it's boring. They don't have the greatest shots. I can't really see what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Things I know nothing about. Then we're going to do that. But it's not for me and it's not for them. I do have 2 little quick things. I'm going to be putting out more videos because I want to share. I actually had a bodily reaction to the show when I finished it. And I wasn't expecting that. And it did bring up some thoughts that I'm thinking a lot of women might have had afterwards that is kind of sad. So I'm gonna share that in a whole nother video because this video is probably getting way too long. So do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you wanna see more entertainment, me breaking down more of this type of content, let me know. I worked in Hollywood for over 10 years. I know a lot. Also coming out with a podcast with one of my friends I'm so excited about. It's called the Pop Teeny Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram. And also I'm going to be sharing more about my experience interviewing Meghan Markle. So subscribe to my channel and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao.
Show me life, show me love.